So, welcome to the Discover Me podcast, where we bring you amazing people doing remarkable things in a very influential way. I'm Brian.
And I'm Lavanna. And today we have with us Dr. Sharon Kelley, wife, mother, retired Marine, retired civil service employee, prophetess, author, entrepreneur, and founder of Watchmen's Ministries with her husband, Pastor Kelley. Welcome, Dr. Kelley.
Thank you all. Thank you so much for having me.
How are you today?
I'm doing well. And you?
Good,
Good,
good.
good.
So,
You
we're
know,
gonna.
I'm glad you responded because what I found is that when you ask people how they're doing and you really want to know, you'll stop and listen. Now, you say, how you doing? And people keep walking. Well, you really don't want to know what I'm doing. So I'm glad you responded.
No, I think it's important. If you're asking me how I'm doing, I'm gonna tell you the truth. I
Thank
I
you.
feel that it's
Yeah.
genuine, like you really want to know, because most times people will say hello and keep moving, but when you get that, how are you? I am very well today. So no, I appreciate you asking. Appreciate it.
Or you get those people that tell you that's when you find out if their day is really bad too.
So be careful what you ask for.
so, so we want to start by asking you to tell us a little bit about who Dr. Sharon Kelley is.
Wow. I mean, first of all, thank you all again for having me here because what you're doing is who I am. You read off my bio. I really am a woman of many trades, but I will tell you, I'm a woman of one love. And my one love, or I should say two. My one love is first of all, my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and then my family. So with all of the things I've done, I gotta always give credit to God and give credit to my family. And so who am I? You're talking about being an entrepreneur. I'm a leader of leaders. So I love businesses. I have a couple right now. Actually, I just launched a new business that I'm calling our legacy business. And that's called the Matt Kelly Enterprise. And that's helping me to give my girls an opportunity to understand that I don't want to just give them money when I leave. I want to give them the legacy of knowledge because knowledge takes them much further than the money ever would.
Yeah.
So I own PQ Consulting. I'm a government contractor. I'm a pastor, I'm a prophet. Most of all, I'm just a person that loves people. That's why when you asked how I was doing, I wanted to tell you and thank you for responding to me because that's who I am, really authentic with people. So that's it. That's who I am in a nutshell.
And genuine and loving.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, well, let's jump right into it. You said you have a book and you have a company, but we'll start with your book. Um, Tell us about your book, Propel to Purpose.
Wow. First of all, that book is one of many. I'm actually in the process of writing two more. I plan to have them published at the end of the year. The first one is called The Value of You, which is kind of the second portion of Propel the Purpose. And then I have another one on dreams. So I'll have those two published. But Propel the Purpose is a book about discovering who you are and truly understanding purpose. For me, I was on this long journey, believe it or not, especially when you talked about who I am. I was a Marine, did my 21 years, very active, always in leadership. But the one thing that no one really recognized about me was my inability to be confident in who I really was. I was one of these people, I could be in a room, I could be the most vocal in the room, but very few people understood that I lacked the confidence to even be in that room. Many people didn't know that I had no clue on what it is, or I would go and speak and I would spend a good 15, 20 minutes in the bathroom just because my stomach was so upset. Little people, I should say few people knew that about me, but little did they know I was really behind this protective shell. So Propel the Purpose was just that. It was showing people that you can be a wall, you can be that fly on the wall, but you're still in the room. And so that's what Propel the Purpose was about, finding your purpose. Too often we have people believing in order to find your purpose, that you have to be doing this grand thing. But I tell people, you're not finding a purpose, you're discovering what's in you. There's a difference between finding and discovering. When you go and find something, you got to know what you're looking for. But when you discover, you already know it's there. So that's what Propel the Purpose is. It's like discover what's already in you, all the things you like, even the things you don't like. I call those hay. And my book is called The Hay That Covers Your Divine Needle, which is all those activities you do. If it's a hobby, if it's the things you like, the things you don't like, you'll be surprised that your very purpose is within those things. And then I came up with 4 categories. And I got to say that I was led to write this book when I was in the middle of a class, like a seminary class. And they were saying I had to go and look up a person that no one knew of in the Bible, an unknown person, so to speak. And when I did the study on that individual, I remember my instructor said, she's like, well, why did you choose him? It was Obadiah, not Obadiah the prophet in the book, but Obadiah was a servant that really helped the prophet stay alive. He was really with, Obadiah was the one that was in the castle with Jezebel and Ahab. And so he could hear all the secrets that they were doing to kill the prophets. He could hear those secrets, but he was a person that was taking them food to protect them. So when I brought them out, again, that was my first time really being introduced to him too. But that right there showed me that you don't have to have the biggest name. You just have to be the person in the right place to make the difference. And that's what Propel the Purpose is. My greatest purpose is just to encourage. I have 4 characters. One is to be an encourager. Some people, you may be a good communicator. Your whole purpose in life is to be there to listen. You know, we don't think of that as a purpose, like, well, how is that my purpose? Because your listening ear could turn somebody's life. And if you understand just that one thing, you'll be okay with somebody sitting on the phone with you for about 45 minutes and you're thinking, this conversation was over 15 minutes ago. But then you'll realize because you were there for that 45 minutes, you've had the opportunity to change a life. So, I mean, I won't go into all the book, buy it, it's still on Amazon. Buy it, but those categories will show you, don't look for the big thing because you're going to miss the best thing. As long as you look for the big thing, you're going to miss the best thing in life. And that's what that is all about. That's what my book is about. That's what my next book is about. And anything about me is going to be about purpose and influence because few people understand purpose. It's one of these abstract terms because we use it so much. Well, find your purpose. Well, if you don't know what you're looking for, how are you going to find it? But if you can discover what's in you, if you can discover just one thing about you, once you make that discovery, no one can take it away from you. And literally the sky to your opportunity is now open.
That's interesting because, you know, a lot of people, even me, I would say at times, trying to figure out what it is I'm supposed to be doing. And I'm overlooking what it is, like my true purpose, because I'm focused on what someone else is doing and thinking, I want to do that, or I want to do this. And really, yeah, like you said, you're not discovering what you're here for because you're looking for something else. So never heard.
And you're never going to find it because you don't know what you're looking for. So it's like telling someone, go and find a shoe. And they go, okay. But if you don't describe the type of shoe that they're looking for, that person's going to be picking up everything but what they need to pick up. But if you tell them, go and discover a red pair of shoes that have a lace on the top and the bottom, the sole is black. Now they know what they're going to discover as opposed to what they're trying to find.
And it's within, like,
yes,
it's all within. So it's a little bit of soul searching. It's a little bit of spending time with yourself and the Lord to really figure that out.
Right. And don't be dismayed by what you see. Sometimes when we spend time with God, and some people don't know how to hear God. And I will tell you the best way to hear God is that little thing. If you've ever said this, something told me, or I knew that was going to happen. Or, you know, I started not to do that. And then something every time you say that, that is God speaking to you in a way for you to understand. Especially when it's in the realm of protection, or even to launch a business. You're like, I started to launch this business, but then something changed and I did this. And then all of a sudden you realize that you have more influence and more impact on what you're now doing as opposed to what you thought you should be doing.
Yes.
Funny because that something told me is usually my wife. She told me.
Well, I'm glad you listened.
Let the Holy Spirit use her.
So you mentioned that you have a couple of companies. So what's the relationship? Is there a relationship between your businesses and your book?
Absolutely none. I know it sounds crazy, right? But I'm one of these people. I'm multifaceted, and I finally embraced that. I don't know if you all have ever heard someone say, well, just do one thing and make sure you're doing that one thing well. Don't move on to that next one until you can do the one thing well. Well, there are people like me out in the world that if you do one thing, you will literally go stir crazy because your mind cannot, you're not all over the place. So my first company, PQ, which is a company that I've had for about 5 years now. I'm a government contracting company. That company is strictly what my profession was, logistics and cyber. So that's what I do. I hire people for logistics and support government contracts and cyber. So that's that company. But then the company that I launched, what I told you, is called Matt Kelley Enterprise. Actually, that's new. And what I decided, I love writing books, as I told you. And one of my daughters, she loves writing books as well. She loves drawing. So we're going to come together and I'm going to have her to publish her book under my company. So Matt Kelley Enterprise has 3 pieces. There's one that is called Wall Time Publishing. We're publishing our own books. We do self-publishing anyway. Then there's one that's me speaking. By the way, I have a podcast. It's called Propelling Points. So, speaking engagements. So I promote that. And then the other part is all about engaging with the family. So that's a part of the company for us. And again, my company is completely, Matt Kelley Enterprise is completely separate and distinct from PQ. PQ is all about the profession. Matt Kelley Enterprise is all about the passion. Gotcha. We try to blend them both. And sometimes that's when you get the conflict, when you're trying to balance, well, how do I be a government contractor and have this passion to write books? Okay, let one pay for it and then let one be committed for it. Let your government contract, PQ, pay for the things that you're committed to doing in the community or to your family. You know what I mean? So they're separate and distinct companies. I also have a nonprofit, again, right? All of these I have a nonprofit called Propulsion Circle, excuse me. And Propulsion Circle, my husband and I actually launched that some years ago. My husband, he grew up in Alabama, and he quickly tell you that he didn't have shoes for anything until he went to the 1st grade. So Propulsion Circle is a nonprofit organization that we created, and the focus is getting shoes to children, but not just shoes, education. Let me tell you why shoes are important. I love shoes. But let me tell you, there's something about shoes that shifts your personality. There's something about shoes that make you feel better. When someone doesn't have on the right pair of shoes, they become very self-conscious, right? We can walk past a homeless person and we look at their shoes, because that tells you how far they've walked and what they don't have. But if you put the right pair of shoes on somebody, you can tell them, you may not be able to run track right now, but if I keep you in the right pair of running shoes, I can now prepare you for the future. So it can't just be the shoes. So for us, the shoes are not just physical, but it's symbolic of where somebody can go. Your shoes will indeed design those steps that God has given you. So we put them in shoes, and then we give them the confidence through teaching for them to get to where they're going.
Oh, I love it. It is that was real deep. And with that deepness, I have 3 questions.
Okay.
Yes, 3. So let's talk about your books, your publishing. Are you publishing just family things, or are you open to and accepting publishing outside of what you and your daughter and your family are looking to publish?
That's that's actually a great question, because right now my focus was passing the legacy of knowledge to my daughter. So I want to get these first 2 out. This will be the first time I'm publishing under our own Wall Time Publishing. But, as God would lead me, I would love to open it up, because as long as the people that are coming, they're coming with the understanding that you're passing on the legacy of knowledge. I don't care if you're passing that legacy of knowledge to your own children or, a business community, whatever community, as long as the focus is not about the profit, but about the knowledge. And I teach this. I teach this when I have the opportunity to share with small business owners and entrepreneurs. I always tell people, allow your passion to create your profits. Never allow your profits to drive your passion. Allow your passion to create your profits. That means whether or not you get a whole lot of money in, you will continue to do it. But if you need your profits to drive your passion, if you don't get the amount of money you want, you would drop something that you're saying you're passionate about. That's how you really know a passion. You can get paid for a passion, Matt Kelley Enterprise. You can get paid for a passion, but know that the passion has to always be the most instrumental thing in your life as opposed to just a profit. So yeah, I would accept other people, but they got to come in with that same mindset that the only thing they really want to do is give the legacy of knowledge, because that's what's missing right now, the legacy of knowledge. We got a lot of rich people in the world that always want to tell you what, but few want to tell you how.
Yeah.
You know, they never want to tell you how, because if they tell you too much of the how, then they see you as competition. But anyone that's willing to give you the legacy of knowledge, then they want to tell you that I'm not going to compete with you.
Yeah.
I'm going to help you complete.
Yes.
I want to be a completer of your journey, not a completer in your journey, which is two different things.
Okay.
You had two more,
Yep, I do.
I got one.
So, okay, well, go ahead, and then I'll come back.
Well, mine is kind of related to. So, how did you get to? Because you said you're publishing your book yourself. How did you start your own publishing company? How does that work? Or
it's more simple than you think. So when my first book, Propel the Purpose, I did publish it under with a publishing company. I maintained the rights of my book, but I didn't maintain the rights of the book, if that makes sense. Like the cost, they helped to set all of that. You can go on Amazon. Here's a how-to. My podcast is about how to propel the purpose. Propelling Points is about how to overcome the fear of the how-to. Many people don't do things because they don't know how to do it. Here's a tip for anyone that wants to publish your own books. You go to Amazon. I'm using Amazon because that's who I'm using, KDP. And when you go in, you have the option of publishing under yourself, right? You're the publisher, you're the author, and you're the publisher. What I did was created a company, Matt Kelley Enterprise, doing business as one of my DBAs, one of my doing business as is Wall Time Publishing. So when I go out to Amazon, KDP, when it asks for the publisher, Wall Time Publishing. I also went and bought my own, got my own ISB numbers. Now, if you use KDP, they will give it to you. But I want to retain all of my rights this time, not just the rights for the book, but the right to do whatever I want with my book, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's how you do it. It's not hard. Once you go into Amazon KDP, you upload everything. After any self-publisher, another tip, please have someone to edit your book. Beyond your cousin, your friend, your wife, your mother.
Right.
Get someone that's going to tell you the truth. That's how you're going to know how good your book is. I don't know how many people know that, what's her name? J.K. Rowling, the whole Harry Potter.
Yes.
Her book started as a self-published book. I don't know how many people actually know that.
Wow, because that Harry Potter is huge. So.
Yes, it started as a self-published book because when she went to publishers, they turned her down. Turned her down. Now, Harry Potter isn't, my cup of tea, but the value of what she brought as an author who saw value in what she was bringing that no one could really define. Lo and behold, she did it herself. And then someone saw what she had that they may have overlooked before. And now look at this, look at what she has.
Yes.
So that's why you got to believe in you. And what I'm doing with my books, I believe in mine. They may never get picked up by a traditional publisher. And I really don't care because I want to pass along the knowledge that, I want to pass along the legacy of knowledge is what I want to pass along.
Okay. So let's talk about shoes. And I'm a lover of shoes too. And I agree with everything you said. I think shoes give you a level of confidence, especially our kids. So how do you accept shoes? Tell us a little bit more about how you receive and or give the shoes.
So normally we would put right around school. Well, last year, was way different. 2020 was different for a whole lot. But normally we'll do a shoe drive. And what we've linked up with, there's another church here locally that we were able to link up with, and we would collect the shoes and then we give the shoes to the church. We believe in partnership because You don't have to be the person with the biggest idea. You just need to be the person with the biggest heart
Yes.
and be the person who's humble enough to say, my name doesn't have to be in the marquee. I just want my purpose and passion. So we collect shoes, and normally I post on social media when we're ready to start collecting shoes. Right now, we're trying to determine how we're going to do this for this coming year, because now it looks like schools may reopen.
Yeah.
So we're looking at that, but we do what we call a shoe drive. And either we host it ourselves, like one year we hosted it ourselves where we gave away a pair of shoes and a backpack.
Mm.
So, people want to always give up a backpack. But what I found is we want to do it twice. You do it in August or September when the kids go back to school. And for younger kids, we try to do it again in December or January. Why? As parents, any parents know that that 4-month stretch, it's like these kids hit a growth spurt.
Yeah.
So whatever shoes they got in August may not even fit in December.
So true.
So that's how we collect the shoes, and then we have this shoe drive. So this year, we're really still trying to work it out. We're thinking about a few things. We're thinking about doing a spring tea, for young girls. So there's a couple things happening, but it would definitely be on social media. And I would love if you all would share it when we do get it all
We
planned out.
sure will, most definitely, and commit to more than just sharing,
Yeah.
being active participants in collecting, distributing, whatever is needed to do this, and of course donating as well.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. I'm telling you, to see the look on kids' faces. And I will tell you, in the area that we're living here in Northern Virginia, the county we live in is the 11th. The last time I looked, it was the 11th richest county, I'm sorry, in the state. But what's amazing is people think it's all about money, but no matter what, there's somebody that's still in need.
Yes.
There's somebody, and the need is probably even greater because there's that belief that there's no one there that's in need, but that's not true. There's need everywhere.
So
Just whether or not you want to look for it, or whether you want to sit, in your comfortable home believing that everyone is just like you, and that's not true.
true.
And being that the county is known for being like, the 11 riches, there's probably not a lot of programs there to help people because it's not one of those inner city areas that they feel like needs all the attention. So,
Absolutely. I've been fortunate enough to partner with our local social services. So we were able to, last year we gave food as our ministry, Watchman's Ministry here in Stafford. Last year we were able to give food out, but we also got names of people. So for Christmas, we wind up giving, because shoes is our big thing. We got the sizes for the kids and we gave them shoes. We gave them shoes, and we allowed some of the kids to write little notes to give to the kids, fold them up and put them in the shoes. Because sometimes it's not what they don't have, but that someone recognizes that they're human, just recognize that somebody's a human beyond race, beyond ethnicity, beyond gender, just beyond all of that, just human. Just recognize that someone's a human.
So true. So my last question is, you talked about everything, but I honed in on the dreams. Your book about dreams. Are we ready to talk about that, or is that something that you have to come back and give us a little bit more on?
I'm probably going to give you a little more on that, but yeah, dreams, interpretation of dreams. That's another area that, so the gift that God has given me is the gift of a prophet. So I flow in the prophetic, some apostolic, meaning just building. For those who may not be familiar, it's building. It is not going out and starting a church. That is not what an apostle or prophet does. It's building the system within the church, meaning us, to go out and do. And so dreams is one of the ways that we get dreams and visions. It's one of the ways that we get revelation of what God would have us to do. But you got to understand it, because just because you have a dream for it, there's so many symbolism that's there. But the book that I'm going to be publishing, I got to make some final tweaks. I think it brings it in plain language. It helps people with plain language on how to interpret your dream, and then understand the symbolism in your dream to really get the message that the dream is bringing. And again, the name of the book is going to be The Receiver of Dreams. So we're going to make sure that we get that, Receiver of Secrets. I'm sorry, we're going to make sure we get that book out pretty soon. By December, I'm hoping to have it all out under our new publishing company.
I can't wait for all of it. I cannot wait.
I know one of these, my passion really is to teach. I love teaching. And when I say teaching, I mean, I love helping people to see what's in them. When you start talking about purpose, that's what I'm saying. Let's stop telling people, go find yourself. When people say that to me now, it's just like, oh, go find yourself. Yourself isn't missing. I got to go find myself. Yourself isn't missing. The pieces about you that you're yet to discover is missing. So I'm called a mandate that God has given me. He said to go and reach one to reach the many. If I can bless one person at a time, I don't know their sphere of influence. So if I can reach one person, I can reach many other people I won't ever meet. So I love teaching. I love empowering. I love people to know that what is in you now is better than what you're going to become. Why? Because you need what's in you now to become who you're looking to be.
Yes.
Too often we're wishing. I just posted this comment, and I share with your audience. I just posted this comment. It's like, stop wishing for things that you can change. So often we wish for things that we can change. I wish I can lose 25 pounds. That's the truth. I wish I could lose 25 pounds. But why am I wishing for something that I can change? When you can make the change, that's not a wish. That's just you not being committed to the change that you want. Decide to be the change that you want. That way you'll stop wishing for it. Stop wishing for the things that you can change. Don't wish for it. Just do it.
Things that you want. Yeah.
Yes. So do you do speaking engagements or?
I do.
Okay.
I do speaking engagements. For a fact, anyone that wants to reach me can reach me at www.drsharon, SharonMK.com. You can find out more about me in speaking engagements. And my speaking engagement is not just limited to the Christian world. I speak at business engagements, entrepreneurs, but my forte is to make sure people understand and be encouraged to just do. Yes. Get beyond the fear of how to. Let me be the person that makes a deposit in you. Even if I don't know how to, I know how we can find out. So let's do it. So I do. I speak to Christian events. Obviously, I preach when I'm asked to preach. I speak at business, small business roundtables. So I do. I speak quite often. But my passion in my speaking is to teach.
Okay.
That aligns with the podcast too, because what we want to give is people a way to see how they can do things or how other people did it. So just ordinary people,
And I love what you all are saying, because so often when I did the research before I launched my podcast about, overcoming the fear of how to, I remember going to, I can't even tell you how many business seminars. So my doctorate is in business with a focus on strategy and innovation. But I've studied, for my dissertation, I studied human behavior, customer behavior. But what I found is most times people don't care about the what so much. Think about it this way. If you go to if you're going to a shoe store, where are you going? Are you going to buy a McDonald's, some McDonald's fries?
Shoes.
No, you're going to buy shoes. So you already know what you want. The thing is, once you get into that shoe store, if you have the right representative, they should show you how to wear the shoes that you're looking for. Yes. They shouldn't have to sell you the what. You already know what you want. I already know I want to lose weight. That's my what. Now I just need to figure out how to. And my how to has to be driven by my why. When your why becomes so important, you will figure out the how to, and the what will no longer matter. What is just a goal?
Yeah. I heard that recently somewhere too, that people don't care about what it is that you do. They care about how they can do it. Or they don't care about how much money you have. They care about how they can get the same money you have.
How they can make it. Right. But again, we tend to teach people what? Like, and I'm glad you asked me, well, hey, how did you launch that publishing company? Because it's just that simple. How did you launch it? And that way, it wasn't just me telling your audience, well, this is what I've done. I'm telling you how I did it.
Yeah.
Because that's what matters. At the end of the day, the reason why we don't do things is because we just don't know how.
Yeah.
And I also want to say this. I found that the how it's in stages. How comes in stages. And I hope I got a minute to explain that just a little bit.
Go ahead. Yes.
How has comes in stages. For a fact, when I launched my first podcast, I had so many mistakes in it. I recorded it like 8 times. And then I let it go because I'm like, you know what, at this point, let's let it go. I know I will become better. When you're learning how to do something, you have got to give yourself space and grace. Give yourself some grace to let your how become better. See, we always want the perfection from the start. We can't get perfection from the start because perfection from the start means that you completed a thing. But if you understand your process to perfection, and I wouldn't even say perfection, your process of perfecting, 2 different things. If you understand your process of perfecting, then be okay with it. And that's why I'm like, be okay with your how. How comes in stages. We try to train people. Like I was having a conversation with someone, and I'm like, what's so amazing is that we no longer allow mistakes. I don't know if you all are, well, you should be old enough to remember old whiteout. Remember when they used to do whiteout on paper? Oh, do you? Okay.
Oh, we do.
Well,
Okay.
he may not. He always talk about he's younger, so he may not.
But you remember there was a time when then you would have to put whiteout, and even before whiteout, they had a little corrective tape that you would put in the typewriter, and you can hit one word.
Mhm.
But what was more acceptable back then is to see whiteout. You can see where there was an error. Now we're in a an age where with technology, there's an expectation that there should never be a mistake because you can either correct it or you can edit it or you can brush it out. So what we've done, we've removed that level of how that allows someone to see, well, this is how I did it the first time. This is how I need to do it the next time. And this is how I can make it better after that. We're removing that level, the stages of how, we're removing that level out when we don't allow mistakes.
Yes.
We're really causing our young people to sit in this belief that you have to be perfect.
Yes.
As soon as we stop brush painting models, stop removing all their blemishes. As soon as we stop removing some of these filters off of social media, so people can see, well, ooh, that didn't look too great that day. So I know how I need to fix that, right? So you're now in another stage of how. And you go into your next stages of how shows your next stage of growth. Remember, you start with your why. Your why gives you the heart. Your what gives you where you're going. Your what tells you what you want. Your where gives you the direction for which you're going. But the how is what exposes you to everything, because the how is how you execute something. So as long as you understand your why, it will push you to understand your what. And once you get the what, you don't have to figure out the where because you'll know where to go.
Yes.
You'll get to the how. And when you allow yourself just that space to go through the stages of the how, you'll be exactly where you want to be. Because where you are is where you want to be.
That's refreshing. I think those stages that you talked about, that's been my life here lately.
That's what I was thinking about as you were talking about the whiteout. There was that pause because I was picturing what we're doing right now. Like, yeah, this makes a lot of sense.
And the only thing I thought about was growth. Like
Yes.
There's no opportunity to grow if you don't allow yourself to go through those stages from podcast 1 to podcast now or podcast 50 down the road. That's growth. That's growth. Every step in life is about growth. And
right.
You just
And
painted my whole life.
Just think about that. It's like how you did something the first time will teach you how to do something better the next time.
Yes.
Or maybe teach you what not to do at all.
Not to do.
But that's what I mean. It's the growth, but we don't allow ourselves to have that because we're in a society, because, everything is easily erased. Everything is easily filtered. Everything is easily brushed up, that we don't give ourselves that space to grow and learn
And be vulnerable.
and be, that's it. And that's what Hal does.
Yep.
Hal shows you
Yeah.
all the vulnerabilities because it's your actual execution.
Yes.
When you're executing something, then I told you all I would be the most vocal in the room, the loud, because I'm naturally loud, the loudest in the room. And people would never believe that I was just that person that was in the bathroom for like 15 minutes, just blowing up. I mean, this everything from last week coming out because of nerves.
I feel like
And
that's
it, like,
that's
really?
us. That is us. I'm the quieter one typically, but when it comes to accomplishing something, like I'm like, let's do it. Let's just go. Like I don't have that fear of doing it because I feel like if I mess up, I'll learn. I'll teach somebody else not to do what I did, or if it's not anything serious, you can mess up too. That way, you see why you don't need to do it, and then we go on. And she's more like,
I'm the opposite. I'm just like you. I'm everything you just explained.
Yep.
I'll when it's go time, it's go time. But getting to that point, I've talked myself, ran around the corner like, nope, not ready. I'm not gonna do it. Throwing up in the bathroom, doing all of that and psyching myself out. But then I get in there and I execute. But
way better than me.
I appreciate that because it's not about us. It's about this feeling. I think is more than just what you just said, that more people have this feeling and it's okay. And just knowing that it's acceptable, it's going to happen. And long as you get through it, that is what matters. Like you get to that finish line, that is what matters.
And I mean, you guys said it perfectly. And I wish, like for my kids, I have younger kids. I really want them to be able to fail.
Yes.
Like, because failure, and this is another phrase that I coined. I said, failure is just another step of success that's hidden.
Yeah.
Failure is another step to success that's hidden.
I saw something the other day. It said that your biggest success in business are the failures that you made along the way. It was something like that. And I was really thinking about like this is so true.
Right.
Yeah. And you want to be
think
there
about
too.
it. You wouldn't have a gauge unless there was something that you didn't do as well as you wanted to do it. What's the gauge? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And last thing on that, and you were talking about your kids and allowing them to fail, because when they do fall, you want to be there to cheer them on, get back up, let's do this again, it's going to be okay. You want to be that encourager, and it goes back to those qualities, that those character traits that you talked about with yourself, just being an encourager. And we as society, we have to be more of that for one another.
We do. And you know what? And you guys, what you're doing right now, you'll be surprised. There may be people that you never ever meet, and you may say one thing that's changed their lives because you took the opportunity to do something that you may or may not feel comfortable in doing. But that's what it comes down to. That's when you've discovered your purpose that may not come in this big grandiose, type, let me start a school for girls, but what you've done is started a life or restarted a life for someone. As a pastor, not even just a pastor, as a believer of Jesus Christ, the one thing that I've taken away from my personal life, if he could wash away my sins when I repent, I can at least wash away somebody else's sins when they ask me to forgive them. Yes. And that's what the word tells us, to make sure that we forgive others so that we too can be forgiven. But the others that we got to remember include yourself. People don't forgive themselves. That other is also you. So forgive yourself when you fail and realize that this was just another stage of success, a little hidden. Yeah. That's it. That's what it is.
So thank you for all of that goodness. Thank you. So at this point, we want to just play our quick 6 game with you. And we're just going to ask you 6 questions and you just tell us the first answer that comes to your mind. Okay. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
So we're talking saving. Would you rather save time or money?
Time.
Boots or heels?
Heels.
Okay.
Seafood or soul food?
Seafood.
Traveling, international or domestic?
International.
Okay.
Carpet or hardwood?
Hardwood.
Okay. Would you rather be hot or cold?
Cold.
Cold.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Oh, I'd rather be hot any day.
See,
Any
I'm a
day.
woman of the age where hot. I wish I could turn that off. I wish I could turn my personal summers off. So I
Okay.
would say cold any day.
Okay. 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 I'll take that.
I always say you can layer up, but when it's so hot,
Yes.
what else can you take off?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Oh, I don't like being hot. I do. And my birthday's in July. Go figure.
Oh, like, well, we just need to switch because I'm January and I would love a hot birthday. I'm for the hotness. I'm for all of that warmth.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So what's one piece? Last question, right? Because we threw some extra ones in there on you.
We did a lot.
What's one piece of advice that you would give to someone struggling to find their purpose?
I wouldn't say, first of all, I'd tell them stop trying to find it. I would really tell them to start with, stop trying to find it. I would tell the individual, any of your listeners, if you're a person who you're having a hard time waking up in the morning because there's no motivation to do what you're doing, or if you're a person who really believes that every day is just another day in a humdrum world, I will tell you to do this. Take a moment, sit down and just start writing the first thing that comes to mind. Start with a sentence like this. If I could change the world, what would I change? Start a sentence like that. Rather you're writing it, I prefer that you write it, or if you just sit and record, I'm going to tell you what's going to come out of that. Because you're going to find yourself going into the things that you don't like. If you're in a place of still trying to discover it, you're going to go into this place of writing or recording all these things you don't like. But you will find out of all those things you don't like, you will find one thing that you can make a difference in. And once you find that one thing, then you would have discovered you and your purpose. Your purpose could just be to help an old lady go get groceries every Wednesday. That's your purpose. So don't try to find it, just discover what's in you.
Okay. I won't ask any follow-up questions, but we will have a follow-up visit to really dig down into some more nuggets. We appreciate all you have given us. This has been amazing. I can't thank you enough for taking the time out of your busy schedule to sit with us and to just give yourself, your authentic self, because this is exactly who you are. Everything you talked about is exactly who you are, and pouring into others is beyond what keeps others motivated. So I appreciate you, all that you do, and just you being you.
Yeah, thank you. I want you guys to make me a t-shirt. There is one that I have an idea, and it's called Let Me Be. Let Me Be. And the B stands for blessed and encouraged. Let me be. So I see those wonderful t-shirts y'all have. So there you go. You all market it. Just give me a portion and we'll be happy.
Let me be. Okay.
Let me be. Let me be.
Inspired by Dr. Sharon Kelley.
So you all continue to allow us to be in that place where we can be us. So let us be because of you guys. So I appreciate you all having me on tonight. Thank you.
I love that. Okay. Well, we have our own takeaway. We have to deliver after this. So thank you all for joining us and listening to Dr. Sharon Kelley and all that she has given us. And we will see you next time.
And we will throw your social media information and your website,
everything
in the link at the bottom. So.
Yes.
Thank you.
You.